Well, for a closer look at the world's top sports stories, I'm joined by two guests from the not-for-profit group Football Beyond Borders. Tom Perez is one of the founders of the group, and Bruk Abdo is a youth worker at the group. Guys, thanks for coming in. Let's just hear a little bit, Tom, about your organisation, what you do.
We are a youth-based organisation. We work with young people based mainly in South London at the moment. We're looking to expand, and we try and help them using football to inspire them to achieve their goals. That can work in many different ways. Often they all want to be footballers, but we say, look, there are other things you can do. You might be coming from a disadvantaged background. You might not feel that there are other things you can do in life, but actually only a small percentage of you are able to go through and actually play football professionally. So there are jobs in media, you can be an entrepreneur, and we try and support them to do that using football as a hook, basically. We're a big family, and we're lucky to have youth workers like Bruk involved as well.
Great, thanks. It sounds like a very worthy and successful organisation so far. Well done for doing it. Let's move on. Bruk, let's consider the African Cup of Nations. Nigeria, the current champions, how have they managed to crash out? I can't imagine many sports where the current holders of the title have crashed out without even qualifying.
It's very disappointing for the continent, for a footballing nation, to have won the tournament and not made it through the consecutive tournament. However, in saying that, it seems to be sort of the winner's curse. We've seen it with Spain win the World Cup, however, crash out in the early stages this summer. And I don't know what you think about it, Pez, but I'm disappointed. We'd like to see more competition. Nigeria is one of the big countries in the nation, and very disappointing in terms of not having the winners in the tournament.
Yeah, they're
what do you put it down to, Tom?
I mean, for me, Nigeria is the pressure. It's a really big country. You know, obviously, all their fans are behind them. They want them to do well. And for the last few years, yes, they got to the World Cup. Yes, they kind of get to the big tournaments, but they don't really play to their full capacity. And I think most Nigerian fans would say that. A lot of my Nigerian friends say that. They've got players like John Obi Mikel, who's won Champions Leagues. You know, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I love Mikel. But they're not performing at that top level. But I think in this case, where they went wrong is firing Steve Keshi. For me, he's one of the best African managers. It's rare, actually, that African teams actually give a black manager, an African manager, the chance. And he had done well. He took them to the World Cup. And yeah, they didn't perform as well as they could have, but they were still pushing. And there was a long-term development plan. And they've sacked him in the middle of this qualification process. And this is what happens when you don't keep faith in a good young manager.
Yeah, sacked him fairly recently, didn't they, which obviously destabilised their qualifying campaign. Bruk, the Ivory Coast and the Cameroon game, a bit of a farce there. They kind of stopped playing, and obviously a draw sort of suited both sides. What do you make of that? You don't really want to see that, and do you think recriminations might follow?
To be honest, I wouldn't say it's the first time it's happened in the continent. It's definitely a saddening situation. I didn't manage to catch the game. I caught up on news, and it was a disappointing thing that things like this occurs again in the continent. Pez, I don't know what you make of that.
I think the thing is, I think they're actually getting too much pressure on them. It happens all over the world in football, where two teams find a suitable result and they do it. You know, it happens in Europe as well. So I don't think there should be any recriminations. I think I agree with you. It's sad that in general in football that happens, because the fans want to see, and that's why you get pitch invasions. The fans want to see, you know, they've paid their money, they want to see entertainment. And if they're just seeing a team pass the ball around at the end, you know, that's not what they've come to see. So I think all teams really have a responsibility to kind of entertain their fans, actually.
Yeah, maybe just sort of football around the world do it slightly less, obviously, than these guys. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. Every day we try and include our MVP, our most valuable player. And today we've gone for this man, Tokelo Aranti, for his 2 goals for South Africa that knocked Nigeria out of the Africa Cup of Nations, of course. He has now scored 8 goals in 26 appearances for the national team, and will no doubt be hoping for more in the finals, which Bafana have now qualified for. Guys, let's continue talking about the Malky Mackay story. It's 3 months since his alleged racism. The FA investigation is ongoing. Tom, do you think this is too soon for Wigan to be hiring him?
Yeah, way too soon. I mean, I think it's ridiculous. It's farcical. This guy is still being, you know, investigated for what were obviously, you know, not just like a couple of dodgy texts. Like, they're really, really bad things he's saying in there. Extremely racist, sexist, homophobic, across the spectrum of bad things you can say. And yeah, he might be a good football manager, but what do we want football to be? Do we want it to be a sport where it's all about winning and it's all about success, or do we want it to be something where people feel included and people feel that anyone from any society can participate? And it's no surprise that there's a lack of black managers in football. It's no surprise that there's a lack of Asian managers in football. If these kind of people are being employed, it sends out completely the wrong message, and it's too early. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve another chance at some point, but for me, he hasn't repented enough. He hasn't shown enough remorse. He's called it a mistake, and I'm sorry, one mistake is not the same as a repeated amount of texts about a variety of issues, and it's not good enough to do a diversity course. That's my opinion.
Tom brings up the point that it sends out the wrong message to others in football looking at this. However, the FA has not banned him. They haven't suspended him. They haven't finished their investigation yet. There's no criminal suspension on him. Surely he has the right to go and take another job if it's offered to him.
I guess there's an argument there. However, with that being said, football reflects society, and I think it shows the unapologetic attitude that the LMA have shown and the Football Association to allow him to have been accused of such allegations and then move into a swift job after that is very, very concerning for the Footballing Association. And also, if this is how we want our game to be played, surely that has wider connotations for our society and also the young people that are playing football today. What does it mean if a manager can come out and display sort of discriminatory statements and go back into a job? For a young player playing in a club, this says to him that, okay, if you face such challenges, if you are being racially abused, ignore it. Get on with it. And this is not right. This isn't how...
Interesting to see what sort of foreign signings make of it when he approaches black or Asian players, ethnic players, what they make of it. Guys, thank you very much indeed. We'll speak to you in a few minutes' time. You're watching Global Sports Report on Arise News. We'll take a very quick break now, but do stay with us as there's lots more to come.